Welcome back everyone to KitbashCarnage. So we'll have a look here at where we left off. We stuck the chain on the bike here with some super glue and we left it to dry. Take a look at the playlist of the squat bike conversion to have a look at part 1. So we're just gonna cut this chain off here, and as soon as we can, this pliers is, or snips or whatever you may call it, is in bits. I use it majority of the time. I use it to cut metal, so there's no sharpness to it whatsoever. It just takes pure brute force just to snip stuff off at this stage. So as you can see, this is what we have done so far. Now we stuck the little chaos grill on there, the scroll, wrapped the chain around, which is now holding the bike, or not the bike, it's now holding the sword onto the bike. And then we've got our chassis here. We're just going to stick on the back here. So this is the position that we want it to be stuck on. So we're just going to snip off these little bits here, just to take away the, I don't know what you would say, the effect, or the just to make it more even looking, more like a war drum. We don't want to make it not look like a war drum. I want to kind of keep the Mod Podge type of kitbashy kind of look that it's been thrown together. I know it's not an orc bike or anything like that, but it's a chaos kind of word bearers, an old legion that has broken apart, that has came forth, woken up. So it would be more the demonic souls, the demons that have taken over these chaos word bearer legion, and given it strength that is going to actually be the ones that are creating the idea of the squat bike. So here we're just going to take some milliput, and we're just going to use a 1-to-1 ratio, the usual 1-to-1 ratio, and we're just going to use that as the base to stick the chassis of the bike towards the actual bike itself. So I'm just taking a 1-to-1, roughly a 1-to-1 mix here. As you can see, I'm not really that precise. You have to remember, everyone, this is Kitbashed Carnage here. It's not Kitbash precise. We're not precise whatsoever in what we do. We don't really mind about cross-contamination of products, and we do to, you know, this is just, I'm just a man trying to just have a bit of fun, create stuff that come out of my mind and bring you guys along the journey with me. So I appreciate each and every one of you coming along this journey with me, but do, when you remember you're on this journey with me, remember that this is not a tutorial videos on what you have to do. This is me doing something and telling you what I do, showing you what I do, and if you use any of my ideas or tips along the way for any of your own projects, then I'm happy about that, you know, as long as it helps you and it doesn't destroy anything that you're doing. So do take everything I say with a grain of salt. So we grabbed a bit of jeweler's chain here. It's always good to have some jeweler's chain lying around. It's kind of not perfect, but it's just about perfect scale for doing these type of miniatures. So we're just going to wrap this around the chassis, or whatever it's called. Please do say what it's called, guys. Comments and criticism is greatly received. I do appreciate it all. I'm not too fond of the old cars and football and all that stuff. Believe it or not, being a man, I'm not too into that. You can see I'm into making this type of stuff. Do a hard day's graft, come home and sit and make this type of stuff. That brings me peace and happiness, and that's all I want in the end of the day. So we're going to wrap this around this right here. Just move it around with your fingers. Try to have it a bit taut or tight. Don't have too much looseness or slack around it. And we'll just continue to wrap this round as fast as we can and as precise and as neat as we can. I do apologise for not cutting this part. I should really have speeded this up, but not learned how to speed videos up so far. Like, it's probably very easy, very easy if I just go into the animation part of it or whatever, but yeah, we haven't got that far yet, so just bear with me, guys. So we're just going to place that milliput there where we want it, and just use a silicone tool here just to push it down so it has good contact with the actual orc miniature itself, like the actual plastic itself, so it creates a good bond, and the milliput when dry doesn't crack and end up coming off the actual plastic miniature itself when the chassis is attached. So just make sure with your tool, as you can see, I'm just making sure that I have it pushed in as much as possible, taking bits off, any excess that is overhanging. Easier to take it off now than file it away. I said this previous videos, it's much easier to try to take as much as possible away, but not too much as to have to add back, because it's not as easy to add back as it is to take away. So take as much as possible as to not have to file that much or shape it when it's dried, but not too much as to when it's dry realize you need to add stuff back or you need to put material back, because this isn't a road we want to go down. This is a one and done scenario. We want to do this, be done with it, move on to the next project, because I don't know about you guys, but I always have more than one project on the go, and I would love to eventually have none and have at least one day with no projects that I have to do. So keep in mind, there is plenty of content to come. So as you can see, we're just taking bits out, any excess bits out, and then pushing with our silicone tool or sculpting tool in. You can use this with a toothpick or anything. I just so happens that I have a silicone tool set that I got for quite cheap off of a very well established, well recognized site that may or may not sell you stuff that is or is not what it seems in the picture. I think we may all know what I'm talking about. So but yeah, for 95p you can't really go wrong with that. But like I said, this tool that I'm using right now, a tiny little filing tool stick, you can use that, you can use a toothpick, you can use your finger, you can use pretty much anything. You don't have to have a certain tool. If you want to use your finger, just wet your finger in a bit of water before you use it. It will stop the material from sticking to your finger, so don't worry about that. Right here I'm just adding a little bit of super glue just to help the milliput process. To be honest, I'm just not patient enough to wait till the milliput dries. I want to get this done and dusted. I actually think I had a time frame of when I needed to get this done, a certain amount of days, so I wanted to just get this kind of one and done in a certain amount of days and move on to the next project. So yeah, so it was around here that I thought we need to extend the bike more in the back, kind of a bit more over the chassis thing that I still don't know what it's called. I hope it's called a chassis and I haven't been calling it the wrong name the whole time. But I thought it looked good the way it is, but I might need something just to cover it up there a bit, just to hide the crimes, if anyone's ever heard that term. So I just took a bit of sprue off here, filed it down a little bit, took 2 more pieces of sprue that I thought might fit directly on there, make it look nice. I quickly checked previously off camera with this fit, filed it to fit in a reasonable good position, and then took off a little bit of green stuff here As you know, or if you don't know, green stuff is a 1-to-1 ratio, or an equal ratio. It's pre-made. There's a bit in the middle that everyone tends to take off and throw away because it goes a bit hard and the reaction of the yellow and the blue tends to happen. But what I do is I just roll this into, mix it up, roll it into a little ball or a sausage shape or string, and I just use these for kitbashing projects or anything that I need to use it for in the long run. So I'll get my green stuff here and I'll just mix it up. My patent pending technique of folding it and twisting it into its desired consistency. So pretty much fold it into green stuff instead of yellow and blue, hence the name. You're just doing this like you would dough, just to create, some type of dough. You'd just folding it into each other, kneading it into each other, shall I say. So as you can see, this is about how I like my green stuff to be. It's firm, flexible, not too green, not too pale. But yeah, this is the consistency I like. And I just take a little bit off here, as much as I think I might need. Sometimes I shape it into the shape I might think I need. So here I need a little bit more on this end. So I just fold it over. So one side is skinnier than the other, and I just place it into the position that I think I may need. So as you can see, it looks like a little teardrop, a rough teardrop shape. And we'll place it in here just so we can attach this piece of sprue on. We could just glue this on, but personally I felt at this moment that just a glue connection wouldn't be as strong as I'd be wanting. Just because this is going to go into my custom army, the Mutant Bears of Faith, I wanted the connection to be substantial. Not that all my connections are substantial, but this has to be to a point that I can use and abuse this mini, shall I say, like just pick it up and move it around the board and not worry about any part of it falling off. So I want to have a really good connection to this. It's not a display miniature, it's an actual miniature I'm going to be using for play purposes. As you can see there, I realized that I had the piece flipped the wrong way, so quickly flip that around before it dries out. Now you do have like 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes with this. I know that's a big gap, but you have a good enough working time with this material. It's not going to dry straight away, so no panic really, but better to take stuff off, material away. So you can see here I'm just taking the excess material away, any overhang, just to clean up the work I've done there. It is Kitbashed Carnage, but you still want a little bit of pride in your work. You don't want to leave excess, I wouldn't say just excess overhang, but I wouldn't even say cowboy in. You just wouldn't. Pride of ownership, pride of your work that you're doing. That's what this is all about. This is not about bashing out bits for the sake of it. This is about doing something, having fun doing it, and having a bit of pride in the outcome of what you have created. Not to say that when you have created something you won't have criticism, you won't then improve further on that same project, but being able to make something, whether it be from a kit, whether it be from scratch, from an idea, a drawing from your head, gives you that sense of accomplishment and self satisfaction that is hard to get in other places. Also, while we're here watching myself just manipulate the green stuff, I would like to say thank you very much for everyone who has subscribed so far to the channel and who is coming along this journey with us all together. We are a channel here of makers, kit bashers, idealists, people just within the same hobby. You don't even have to be a painter, a maker, creator, anything like that. As long as you enjoy what we have here in the community, you are more than welcome to stick around for the journey we're traveling on. We're not actually traveling anywhere. Sorry to let you down. We're not actually going anywhere. But thank you. Thank each and every one of you for watching the videos, your comments, good, bad, your likes, your dislikes, subscribing to the channel, anything. Thank you very much. And to those who aren't subscribed, why not subscribe? Hit that like button, hit the notification bell to be notified when I drop any comments. Sometimes I just drop comments in the community channel part. Sometimes I'll drop a video early, which would rarely happen because I'm trying to stick on a schedule now of every Tuesday and every Saturday a video will be released. So we will release a video twice every week, and hopefully let us know in the comments as well if you'd want more videos every week or less, or if that's exactly what you need, like subsequent. I was trying to come up with a word there. What was it? Subsequential? I don't know. Subsequence? Who knows? If that's okay for you guys, just let me know in the comments. Every Tuesday and every Saturday I should be dropping a video. Don't forget, have a look on my Facebook page, Instagram, and my TikTok for more content that drops on a more regular basis. I post every day on my TikTok so far, so don't forget to follow over there for excess content. And yeah, thank you very much, each and every single one of you guys. I appreciate you so much. So as you can see, we just put one of the chaos symbols, or not even chaos symbols, just one of the symbols we made in general. Link in the description of the molding and casting playlist. So this is a symbol that we made in a previous video that we're just sticking to I thought would look quite good, just stuck to the wheel there. And then we have another book cast that we made here. It's like a chaosy book, and we'll just stick this to the side of the wheel as well. I think it gives it more character, a little bit more depth to then, instead of just having a plain flat wheel, bit of empty space. We could have added some detail, some decal here, but at this very moment in time, I was thinking a bit more character, like adding something actually there to break up the flatness would look a bit more better than having it just as a plain flat surface. So I'll leave this here and let it dry, and I'll come back when this is finished. So we're back, and this is dried now. We have the symbol on the side here and the book on the other side. The chassis has dried up, and the bit we stuck on the back with sprues has dried. So now I want to fill in the gaps here so you can't see, just so you can't see the chassis there, or whatever it's called, on the inside. So we're just going to chop the bits of spruce sticking up here, just to make a flat surface, more of a flat surface for us to stick some bits of lollipop stick that we have here on top in order to cover the gap that's in the middle there beside the exhaust. So I'm going to grab a piece of file that I've just cut to size here. It's just a normal nail file that I just cut to size. I'm just going to file this just so it makes a more flatter surface working area in order to stick the cocktail stick thing on the lollipop piece. So when I'm happy with that, I'm just going to double check that the piece of the lollipop stick that I cut off here fits into position, and I'm a little bit of a squeeze, just push it in there a little bit, and it fits perfectly, or perfectly enough for my liking. I'm just going to have a look at the edges here and round them off a little bit, because we don't want to have completely square. We don't want honestly guys, I still need to learn how to speak. We don't want to have completely square edges. It's more aesthetically pleasing, shall we say, to have round edges, and it just fits the miniature better. So we'll just follow these off here, round them off, and make sure it still fits, and then stick it on. So just make sure, as you can see, that this is starting to split in the middle. So make sure if you're using any type of wood material that you are very gentle with filing and stuff like that. It does have grains in it, and so when it comes to plastic and working with wooden material, the wooden material can be a little bit more fragile in the sense that it can crack or break along the grains. Where depending on what type of plastic or resin or anything like that you're working with, it can shatter better or worse shall I say, rather than better. But just keep in mind when working with certain materials of its downfalls and its upsides. Every material is different, so treat it as such. So I just realized here that it doesn't have as flat of a position that I want to get it at, so it just doesn't have a good enough contact to create a good enough bond. So I'm just going to file more of the plastic sprues down here to get a better surface contact bond on the miniature. And yes, this isn't sped up. I was just getting very frustrated about this taking so long. Even though we're only about 20 minutes in, I'm used to bashing out these faster than this length of time. So when it took me so long to do the first half on the first day, and then I had to wait till all the glue and everything set, and now I'm 20 minutes in on the second day, I'm kind of like, why am I still here? Do I want to continue this? But the outcome of the whole project, in my opinion, came out better than I would have expected. So I'm pleased of the time it took me and the patience I had to have while I was doing all of this. So as you've seen, I eyeball stuff in a lot of the time, just I measure it like with my finger and just cut where I think stuff need to be cut, and I'm just filing the excess overhang off. Just it's KitbashCarnage channel, guys. You know, I'm not gonna say it. I don't know where I say it. I'm not gonna say it again and again. I will constantly say it again and again. I'm not really precise. This is just me bashing out projects that come into my head once in a while. Stuff that I've had in my head for years and years. I took a break from this hobby for 15 plus years now, and I'm just back into it. So after 15 plus years of thinking of stuff to make and not doing it, and my project book having 100 plus projects in it and 27 of them on the go right now, I'm eager to get through the book. So stay tuned for more and more projects, and please do put comments of anything you may want to be seen done. My next project, I really want to do a tank, so stay tuned to see some type of tank being done. So we'll just get this piece in the position that we're happy with. Once again, just covering up the holes, the easy to see holes into the chassis, if that's what it's called. And we're just trying to move it here with our fingernail, which we don't seem to be able to do, but as much as possible, move it into position. And this is us just figuring out what type of piece we need to cover them other holes on the sides. And I realised doing this by eye probably won't be the best, so we would do it by eye but also measure in a way. So we'll just get a pen here and use the nail file to make a quick line here. Roughly do a diagonal alley. We'll use a nail file to make a diagonal line there, and we shall cut then with our hobby knife, not scalpel. I've realised we should call it a hobby knife now, not a scalpel, because it's not a scalpel. Similar, but not. So we'll use our hobby knife here, and we'll just score the piece of wood, so then we can then break it off and use that to cover them holes. So just being very careful, we'll use our fingers here and just break along the seams of where we scored, and any excess overhang we'll use the nail file just to file that away. So we're just cutting a bit excess here with the hobby knife, because if you don't score it deep enough, it will take off one of the edges, and we want to get a perfect angle, or not as much perfect angle as we can get. There's nothing perfect about what we do in this channel, so we're just trying to get a nice enough piece that we're happy with, just to slot right in here and cover that hole that we had there. So we get the two pieces that we just cut, and just make sure by sticking them together that we cut them both to the roughly around the same length and the same size before we stick some super glue on, and follow up by sticking the pieces we just cut in them gaps that we want covered. Now the overhang, the way they're not fitting precisely flush is on purpose. I wanted a bit of an overhang in order to create kind of like, as I said, I'm not kind of too much into cars, but a tail fin or a finish type of look, if that makes any sense, just to give it a little bit more breaking up the lines, or you know, a bit more character, a bit more flair to it. I thought it being flush wouldn't be as good as it would look with these angles. So yeah, that's basically just why I done that. So I just take out my little pliers thing here. Just you don't see this out that often, but I take it out now and again when I'm just messing around with some finicky positions that my fingers can't get into. And we all know the saying on this channel: more glue, when in doubt, more glue. So just add a bit more super glue here to help that bond. And it's never really a good idea with super glue and any type of wood or porous material, because it just absorbs the super glue. so adding more glue always is necessary. I tend to go through bottles and bottles of these super glue. So thank you everyone very much for staying tuned to what I'm doing. And before we let you go, we'll finish off with sticking these two chains along the book, because we all know books don't float in thin air, although we are in a fantasy world. And can a book float in thin air? We shall never know, because we chained them down. Dun dun dun! So I'm just crossing over another chain here and sticking it down with more glue in the center on the corners, just making sure that the piece is actually on the edge of the wheel instead of on the book. And we're happy with that. We'll leave that to dry, and I'll bring you back the next time, so stay tuned for the next video.